The state of the priest class. If you've been on my channel for a while, you've probably seen some of my guides and raid kill videos. Currently, my raid team is having some membership issues with one of our healers leaving unexpectedly as we were starting progression on normal Garrosh, and having two other healers fall through after wasting 2 months of our time. That being said, I only have one hardcore kill, and my opinions will be based on normal mode 10-man raids. Since I stopped PvPing back in Canada, my knowledge on how priests are doing arenas is pretty limited, but I hear holy priests are doing well. I might be getting back into arenas, and if I hit anywhere close to a 2k rating, I might come back and do this video again. So, with all that being said, priests are in a pretty good place right now. Holy healing is doing fine. Just look at that Paragon Heroic Garrosh kill. They single healed that with the Holy Priest. Disc is doing pretty well as well. There was a 10-man guild that was able to solo heal a Heroic Garrosh as well. Mitigating heals with bubbles will always be viable to a raid as long as those bubbles actually absorb a decent amount. And Shadow does great on both single target and AoE fights. Mindseer is a monster to those damage meters. Holy is in a good place. It excels at AoE healing and can pump out huge heals on the tank when needed. Coupled with the 2 OP bonuses from this tier's armor set, it just boosts Holy to top tier. I really don't have any complaints about Holy other than I wish Disc had some of its awesome talents that are Holy only. Disc, on the other hand, my biggest complaint about it is that it still only has one AoE heal. Prayer of Healing. That's it. It heals 5 targets and only if they are in a group, which means you have to organize groups depending on a fight to utilize your only AoE spell effectively. A practice that should have died out in Wrath when most abilities were made raid-wide. I mean, seriously, how hard would it be to make Prayer of Healing work like Circle of Healing and be a smart heal that chooses 5 low health targets? Or make it work like Holy Radiance and deal healing to everyone in its radius, but less past 6 people. But as much as I complain about Disc AoE, it's not bad. In fact, it was downright overpowered until a few patches ago. But that was because of Spirit Shell being a little overtuned in mastery stacking. Like I said before, as long as you plan ahead and have the groups ready and know the fight well enough to start casting that ridiculously long cast time for a spec that puts haste at the bottom of its stat priority, it's not half bad. But it is all we have. There's nothing else to it, and it's something you do. And it's not something you do for a quick raid save, since you know they took away our quick raid save in Mist, and it requires a lot of planning ahead of time. Good thing bubbles absorb a ton. That's how we help out when the raid is close to dying. It's pop your level 90 talent and spot heal with bubble spam. Just as a little example, a Disc Priest going into a fight knowing the raid mechanics in and out will do 50% more healing than one going in blind or only knowing the basics. To play Disc effectively, you have to know the fights inside and out, or else you cannot heal as effectively. Also, another big problem for Disc is that their heals do not double heal on crit. There are certain fights and abilities that require healing. Pure heals, not bubbles. Like healing the little ads on Immersion, that stupid shield mechanic one on Korok and Tortoris, or healing up fights like Sulong, Dreamwalker, and Thok. On all those fights, being Disc is a disadvantage because our heals cannot heal as much as the other 5 healers. Even before the change to our heals not double healing, I'd still go Holy for fights like Sulong because it just made the fight 100% easier. As far as tank healing goes, our class excels at it, but Pallies and Shamans can do just as well, and to be honest, tank healing isn't hard at all. Just throw a bubble and prayer of mending on the tank every now and then. The leftover raid healing is more than enough to keep the tank who knows what he's doing alive. That's the big thing. As long as the tank knows what he's doing, he shouldn't be hard to heal. And when a high damage phase does come, you can just focus heals on the tank easily by spamming Flash Heal. But apparently Blizz wants Disc to be a tank healer, even though they removed the need for one. Take a look at her talents. Divine Insight, for example. It has this amazing effect for Holy where every time you use Greater Heal or Prayer of Healing, you have a 40% chance to get a Prayer of Mending that will bounce to 5 targets instantly and trigger no cooldown. Seeing as Disc spams the crap out of Prayer of Healing, that would be the answer to our crappy AoE system. But instead we get a tank talent where our Penance gives us an extra shield to use on one person, but get this, a shield that isn't affected by Weakened Soul. Yeah, that's no healing bonus or any kind of mana reduction to that bubble. It just simply does not trigger Weakened Soul. That is the lamest talent Disc Priests have, and the Holy effect would actually help Disc so much more. And then with the new level 100 talents, we see another amazing talent called Divine Clarity. It replaces Greater Heal, a spell you never actually need to use, and instead will heal everyone within 10 yards of the target, Holy Radiant style. Now, that's exactly what Disc needs, a spammable Aoe heal that isn't group bound. But that is the holy version of the talent. Disc get a stupid shield that works exactly like the version of Spirit Shield they tried to give us at the beginning of Mist, but then they got rid of because it sucked. In that it's a castable single target bubble. Just what Disc needs, another tanking talent we're never going to use because tank healing is not a problem. Now, I think I should point out a few positive that Disc has going for it. The biggest being Atonement. We are the only healing class with the spammable smart heal that actually heals for a decent amount and does damage to the boss at the same time. Atonement is good, like really, really good to the point that I don't see them leaving it alone the way it is. Although, Mistweaver, I don't know what the monks are called. I don't really know much about monks, but they also have a system where they can attack and heal the raid, but it's nowhere near as potent as Atonement. Pain Suppression is really good extra tank cooldown. Like, really, really good. Sure, it has a long cooldown, but I've saved more people than I can remember with a quick Pain Suppression. Power Word Barrier is really good raid cooldown too. It's so good that Blizz felt the need to take away our quick raid save in its place, and honestly if I had to choose between Barrier and Hymn of Hope, I'd choose Barrier any day. Being able to use Penance while moving is the best. Penance proc and Atonement is also a really nice plus. That one spell will heal 3 people for a decent amount since each tick is a separate smart heal. One last thing about Disc before I talk about Shadow. It could really use a stunner interrupt. In a raid setting, fear is nearly useless. Now, it's not really the healer's job to interrupt or stun an ad, but the other 4 healing classes can do both. Now, I don't really play Shadow as much as Disc or Holy, so take anything I say with a grain of salt. Shadow still has terrible movement DPS. I used to PvP pretty hardcore as a Shadow Priest back when dots were about 50% of your damage, so movement wasn't really an issue. But since Kata, Shadow has become more of a DPS spec that requires you to stand still with how much damage Insanity does. If you are doing a heavy movement fight, you need to take the dumb proc talents and hope you have a proc ready if you need to move. Otherwise, you can't do anything but refresh Shadow Word Pain while on the move. But really, the movement thing is my only gripe with Shadow. It does everything else a DPS should be able to do pretty well. And as for Holy, there isn't really any downside to it. It's really good and it does everything well. And that's about it for all the priest things. I pretty much just complained about Disc AoE. And even though Disc AoE is stupid, it's still really good.
For a while. Stop that.
Well played.